Hello YouTube, this will be my first review, and I would like to review the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. This game came out around March of 2019, and it's a tag battle fighting game. This game might have been overshadowed by Mortal Kombat 11, but I'll give some shine to this game. Due to me being an engineer, I had to think about my score, so my final score is an average between the genre, design, replayability, and fun scores. These scores are more of an opinion. If you are using this review as ammunition, if you should buy the game itself, I hope you guys can listen to what I have to say rather than look at the score and determine your own decision about the game if you liked it based on what was said. Alright, let's get started. As you know, many fighting games are not known for their story mode. Same can be said about the Power Rangers. Power Rangers has a good foundation for a story. The story takes place in a multi-dimensional Ranger universe where an evil Ranger is trying to steal morphers across the different dimensions. The voice acting was a hit or miss, but did a decent job. There is not really video cutscenes, more like a drawn novel scenes, which I thought they were drawn well and awesome to see Power Rangers in this perspective. The game gives you 12 base characters with an option to buy 6 DLC characters, and 3 more DLC characters are on the way. I believe this game's selection of characters was smartly done. They definitely picked throughout the generations of Power Rangers to pull in different age groups to get into the game. They are doing similar selections in the DLC. Only con I see is with the character selection is the villain availability, which is a little lackluster, but they do have some villains, and they shown DLC can save that part of the roster. The character section does follow your typical character archetypes, which is awesome to see in a small fighting game. Although the story doesn't want you to be a certain character, it's really what generation of Power Rangers you grew up with and what you are attached to when you first start the game. Zords are in this game and you only have 4 choices currently. This is where I wish they had a couple more, but they are a good selection. I understand this game is not like your high profile fighting games with big teams. For this game, if you had more of a selection, it would be hard to try to balance everything, and at initial release of this game, that was the exact problem. And because it's not a big budget game, you see a mid-size selection of 9 stages, and one of them being a training room. Even though the Zords and stages have a small to mid-size selection, they are a solid picks for what they had to work with. As mentioned earlier, this fighting game is a tag battle game, and you get to pick 3 characters. The control mechanics are fairly simple. You have a standard block and push block on the ground and air, ground dashes, and normal and back grabs. Your specials are actually easy to implement with one button or a combination of one direction and the special button. Your defensive options when you are in a juggle state or on the ground is very limited. This is the reason your combo game and neutral is very important. The combo system is not as clear to a beginner as myself, but I have watched tutorials and been able to grasp more and more of the combos. It has a juggle point system where you can manipulate to continue a combo, such as tagging out is great for continuing combos. You can also force your opponents to switch their character as well to continue to pick on a low health character. There are 3 bars at the bottom of the screen to perform an EX special or a super. Of course, you have a Zord, which you can also use to continue a combo. There are highlights of different combos using the character, tagging system, and Zords that lead to a fighter's death or to have low health. Mechanics are simple in a way to fight the computer, but you will need more knowledge of the game to play it online and win. Due to this game, you start with a low skill level and has pretty good size ceiling to improve. The bad thing is the combo mechanics cannot be learned from the tutorial. Tutorial is mainly for what buttons to use, and nothing is learned of the combo system. I suggest YouTube tutorials for you to understand what the combo system is looking at, and Training Room is going to be your friend in this game to lab some things that you want to learn or try to figure things out. Power Rangers is a live action TV series, and this game decided to go in a direction of a less realistic world. This is not a bad thing in my eyes due to the cost of the game. Stages look standard, but a couple stand out, such as the corner stage with 2 Zords fighting in the background. As for cutscenes in the story mode are very well drawn. As for the character design, it hit on point due to not needing a human face. All the Rangers and villains look great, and it hits the nostalgia bone as well. As for the graphics, depending on the system, they run a solid 60 FPS and at least 1080p on most platforms. Unsure about the Switch version, but frame rate is great for the fighting game purposes and has less detail overall. I have tried the PC, Xbox, and Switch version, and the only problem I ran into with the Switch is the training room that will glitch you out of the game, but now I think they fixed that bug. As for the audio of the game, I mentioned I thought the voice acting was a hit or miss, and I found that to be a major con. As for the music, I enjoyed the music of the title screen and stage music. It just feels like a Power Ranger battle as you watched as a little kid. Granted, the music wasn't the best when you look at it back now, but I still give props to the game's music. As for the sound effects, it has the great Power Ranger cheesy feel, which I believe is on point as well. As for game modes, you have the online with ranked, casual, and lobbies, story mode, arcade mode, versus mode, and training mode. These are bare bones for a fighting game, which is appreciated, but fighting games can only go so far. The story does not take long to finish, probably takes 1 to 2 hours depending on your skills. After you save the Power Ranger dimensions, the replayability is what you want it to be, and the game provides it for you even with the lack of a great tutorial. If you like fighting games, this is your chance to learn the long combos with different characters, Zords, and tagging in and out, and learn how to play a neutral. A con is the CPU does not bring its A game to challenge you even for beginners. Training in online mode is probably where you spend most of your time after you can consistently beat the CPU. Let's discuss the online mode. This is considered a bonus for the game. I think this game has the best online mode for a fighting game, at least for the setup. There might not be a bunch of online modes to fight 1v1s. Not many games have more than 3 though, but where this game exceeds implementation on the online. It has rollback netcode, which is important to have good online fights between people. The system has casual and ranked mode. There are leaderboards for the hardcore audience, which has seasons and will reset every so often to bring you back to collect more grid points and get higher on the leaderboard. You can create a lobby as well to find matches or set up online tourney if you want. This game also has an important feature that every fighting game should have, and that is cross-platform for all platforms to keep the online community alive. It is not difficult for me to find a match even though it's not the biggest community ever, everyone's connected. This is where I give the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid a perfect score on their online aspect of the game, because many fighting games are missing something from the major list from online. As for DLC, this keeps bringing me back to try new characters. One of my favorite is the Quantum Ranger. I remember growing up when he came out in the live action series. He was probably one of my top 3 favorite Rangers. The con of the DLC is the price point. The game is $20, and for 3 characters, it's about $15 for a season, or $5.99 per character, which is a lot compared to the base game price. You can wait for a sale or get ones that you really want. It's also on Game Pass if you have that on Xbox or PC. Oh, also look how fun the game is. When I initially got the game, I thought it was average fun, but when I started picking up combos and trying different things and finding characters that I like, is when I started to enjoy it more. Even though the story was pretty average, learning the game is where the real fun is. I enjoy fighting games, which I think is what you need to like before picking up this game. Also, playing as your favorite ranger has a lot to do with it as well. Due to this game not having an insane ceiling and simple mechanics, this is probably can be boring to people that like to have more difficult combos or mechanics or options. This can be frustrating game if you are the person getting combo to death for one mistake. This game has a lot of potential for the future and it has a good price for $20. I think you get your money's worth if you play the story mode and play online. The team is consistently updating and enjoying their commitment to the game. It's a good fighting game to attain, especially for beginners that want to try to get into fighting games, but has a good amount of things for you to improve. As for overall impression, as you can see from my grading system, I give Power Rangers a good rating. So I believe it falls between a 4 and 5.5 out of an 8-point system. I might have given this game a lower rating in the beginning, but as of now, with all the updates and where the game stands, I think it bumped itself up. I feel like the game should not be as good as it should be, but hey, I'm glad I enjoyed this game and hope you guys will as well. If you don't want to buy it, well, you can still try it on Game Pass if you have it. Hope you enjoyed my review of the Power Rangers. Leave questions, comments, and feedback on the video or my review. Please follow and subscribe my YouTube channel. I will be also streaming 3 times a week, as you can see my schedule. And have a great day and game on.